Once upon a time in the village of Spruceland, there was a young girl named Lila who loved to explore the forest that bordered her town. She would often venture out with her trusty dog, Max, by her side. Lila was known for her curiosity and kindness, and everyone in the village adored her. One day, as Lila and Max were wandering deeper into the woods than they had ever ventured before, they stumbled upon a small, shimmering pond. The pond was magical. Its waters sparkled in the sunlight, and the air around it felt fresh and vibrant. As they approached, Lila noticed a fish gliding gracefully beneath the surface. Its scales reflected vibrant colors she had never seen before. Intrigued, Lila knelt down by the water's edge and spoke softly. "Hello, little fish. You are the most beautiful thing I have ever seen." The fish surprisingly answered back, "Thank you, dear child. You have a kind heart, and because of your genuine kindness, I will grant you one wish. But remember, choose wisely." Lila was astonished, but also thoughtful. She remembered her friends in the village and how they often wished for things they didn't have. She wanted to make a wish that would benefit her entire community. After pondering for a while, she spoke. "I wish for everyone in my village to find happiness in what they already have instead of longing for more." The fish smiled, its scales shimmering even more brightly. "Your wish is granted," it said before disappearing into the depths of the pond. As Lila and Max returned home, they noticed a change in the air. The villagers were cheerful, laughing, content with their daily lives, appreciating the small joys they had previously overlooked. Even the skies seemed bluer, and the trees greener. From that day on, Spruceland became known as the happiest village in the kingdom, all because of a little girl who understood the value of appreciating life and being content. Lila's story spread far and wide, teaching children and adults alike the importance of gratitude and kindness. And thus, the lesson was learned. True happiness comes not from the fulfillment of endless desires, but from appreciating the things we already have and cherishing every moment we are given.
Once upon a time, in the verdant jungle of Allura, there was a majestic lion named King Leo. Leo was a strong and noble ruler, adored by all the animals. However, there was one thing that troubled him deeply. He could not sleep through the night. Despite his strong exterior, something kept him tossing and turning in his den. One evening, while Leo was staring at the stars, a wise old owl named Oliver perched next to him. "Your Majesty," the owl began, "I have noticed your sleepless nights. May I offer some advice?" Reluctant but desperate, King Leo nodded. "I believe your mind is cluttered with worries," Oliver observed. "Meditation is the key to a restful sleep. Allow me to guide you." That night, under the silver moon, Oliver led King Leo to a serene clearing by the river. "Close your eyes, breathe deeply, and let go of your worries," Oliver instructed. King Leo hesitated, finding it difficult to silence his busy mind. "Picture a calm ocean. Feel each wave washing away your troubles," Oliver continued softly. At first, King Leo struggled, his mind occupied with thoughts about protecting his kingdom and the well-being of his subjects. But slowly, as Oliver's soothing words took him deeper into the meditation, Leo began to feel lighter. Each breath felt like a gentle breeze, sweeping away the tightly bound knots in his mind. When King Leo opened his eyes, hours had passed, and he was filled with an unfamiliar sense of peace. "Meditation has shown me how to let go and trust," he realized. From that day forward, King Leo embraced meditation each night, guiding his mind to tranquility and ensuring a blissful sleep. In time, he shared this calming practice with the animals of Allura. The once restless jungle now thrived not only under his leadership, but with the serenity imparted by meditation. And so, the jungle animals learned the importance of calming their minds, proving that peace within reflects in the tranquility around them. And so, King Leo's tale became a bedtime story cherished by young and old alike, teaching them that personal peace and rest come from within when one learns to meditate and let go of their troubles.
In a quiet suburban neighborhood, there lived a young boy named Timmy who had developed an unusual aversion to birds. It all started when a flock of pigeons nearly swooped down on him as he was enjoying an ice cream cone in the park. Ever since that day, Timmy believed that birds were out to get him. Every morning, as the sun peeked over the horizon, Timmy walked to school with his eyes darting nervously at the sky, always on the lookout for those pesky birds that flew above. Even the chirping of the sparrows seemed like a sinister prank to him. His friends found this amusing and often teased him gently, which only deepened his belief that birds had it in for him. One sunny afternoon, Timmy's class was taken on a field trip to a local wildlife sanctuary known as Feathered Friends Haven. As they arrived, the melodic sounds of tweeting and cooing filled the air, and Timmy felt his heart thump nervously in his chest. Ms. Woods, their kind teacher, noticed Timmy's apprehension and decided to pair him up with a gentle volunteer named Lucy, who was incredibly knowledgeable about birds. Lucy started explaining fascinating facts about each bird they saw, highlighting their unique abilities and how crucial they were for the ecosystem. She showed him how the colors of the feathers varied, their melodic songs, and their role in spreading seeds, which helped plants grow. Listening to Lucy, Timmy learned about how the very birds he disliked contributed to the beauty and balance of nature. Timmy was especially captivated by a little canary which sang with such joy that it was hard not to smile. For the first time, Timmy saw the birds not as his enemies, but as wonderful creatures of the sky. Towards the end of the day, a rescued owl was brought into the sanctuary. Timmy watched as the owl blinked at him, its wide eyes filled with wisdom and gentleness. "Why do you hate us so?" it seemed to say. At that moment, Timmy realized that the birds weren't intentionally scary. Instead, they were simply a part of the world just as he was. As they prepared to return to school, Timmy gathered the courage to feed the brave little canary, feeling its soft feathers tickle his hand. From that day on, Timmy started seeing birds everywhere, his heart no longer filled with fear but with curiosity and appreciation. He even became known as Timmy the Bird Whisperer in his neighborhood, teaching others what Lucy had taught him. And whenever a flock flew overhead, he smiled, knowing they were simply part of nature's grand design.
In a lush green jungle, where the trees whispered ancient songs, there lived a wise old parrot named Pasha. Pasha was revered across the jungle, not only for his vibrant, shimmering feathers, but also for his remarkable wisdom. Animals from all corners came seeking his guidance to solve their everyday problems. However, there was one intrigue: the mysterious treasure Pasha was believed to possess. Legend had it that Pasha had a treasure that could grant incredible knowledge and prosperity to anyone who found it. This treasure was hidden somewhere deep in the jungle, and many had tried to find it, only to return empty-handed. One day, three curious youngsters, a playful monkey named Momo, a clever fox called Fenna, and a shy rabbit named Rollo, decided they would team up to uncover Pasha's treasure. They approached the wise parrot and, with bright eyes, asked him about the treasure's whereabouts. Pasha chuckled softly, his eyes twinkling with amusement. "The treasure you seek lies within," he told them. "It is discovered not through sight, but through deeds that reflect kindness, patience, and understanding." The youngsters were puzzled, but determined to give it a try. Determined to decipher Pasha's words, Momo, Fenna, and Rollo set out on their quest. Along the way, they encountered various animals in need. Momo found an injured bird and carefully nursed it back to health. Fenna used her cunning to outsmart a looming danger that threatened a family of deer, while Rollo helped a lost tortoise find its way back home through unknown paths. As they continued their journey, helping those in need, they realized something profound. Each act of kindness and each moment of understanding did not yield gold or jewels, but enriched their hearts and minds. The jungle seemed more vibrant, the sky bluer, and their own bonds stronger than ever. Returning to Pasha, the trio excitedly shared their experiences. "We discovered something much more valuable than any treasure," Momo said. "Indeed," nodded Fenna and Rollo, eyes shining bright with newfound wisdom. Pasha smiled warmly. "The greatest treasure you have discovered is the wisdom within you and the ability to see and create joy in every situation." And so, the young friends understood Pasha's true gift and learned the invaluable lesson that some treasures are not tangible, yet profoundly enriching. Their hearts full of gratitude, they realized they had indeed found the real treasure in the jungles of wisdom. Once upon a time in the vibrant village of Mirthwood, nestled between lush green hills and a sparkling river, there was a young boy named Leo. Leo was full of curiosity, and the gleam of adventure shone brightly in his eyes. He had a best friend named Max, the village's friendly dog who followed him on all his escapades. One sunny morning, Leo's mother called him as he was preparing for his day of exploration. "Leo," she said gently, "come here for a moment." Leo trotted over, with Max at his heels. "Remember, Leo, while it's important to explore and have fun, you must always be truthful and kind to those you meet. Truth is like a seed, my dear. It grows and bears fruits called trust and respect." Leo nodded, understanding the wisdom in his mother's words. That day, Leo and Max set out to explore a new path. Along the way, they discovered a peculiar sight, an old, abandoned cottage tucked away in the woods. Its windows were broken, and the garden was overrun with weeds. As they approached, they noticed a sign that read, "Property of the Brooks. Do not enter." Intrigued but respecting the warning, Leo said to Max, "We shouldn't go in, Max. It's important to respect the things that belong to others." They turned to leave, but suddenly they heard a faint mewing sound coming from the bushes nearby. Peering closely, Leo found a tiny, scruffy kitten with bright, searching eyes. "Oh, Max, we must help her," Leo exclaimed. Carefully picking up the kitten, Leo noticed she was trembling from cold and hunger. The duo hurried back to Leo's home, where his mother quickly washed and fed the little feline. They decided to name her Luna, as her eyes sparkled like the moon. Over the next few days, Leo learned to care for Luna with patience and love. He realized that kindness, much like truth, encourages trust and companionship. One day, Mr. Brooks, the owner of the abandoned cottage, visited Mirthwood. Hearing about Leo's discovery and his honesty in not trespassing, he warmly thanked the boy and narrated tales of how the cottage used to be lively with his family long ago. Leo listened with fascination, realizing the depth of life stories and history. Slowly, the villagers came together inspired by Leo and decided to rebuild and restore the neglected cottage, giving it new life and purpose. It became a community center, resonating with laughter and shared stories. Leo, Max, and Luna became the cherished heart of Mirthwood, teaching everyone that truth and kindness can sow seeds of joy and unity. And so, Leo learned that when you choose to walk the path of honesty and kindness, you not only build trust, but also create a world filled with warmth and togetherness. With each passing day in Mirthwood, this truth rang clearer, deeply rooting in the hearts of everyone, just like his mother had foretold. And indeed, through the wise guidance of a mother's words, the playful antics of a young boy, and the serendipitous encounter with a kitten, the village's story became a testament to truth's enduring journey. Once upon a time, in the bustling town of Breeford, lived a boy named Sam. Sam was curious and insightful, often found with a book in one hand and a notebook in the other. Despite his love for learning, Sam sometimes didn't realize the power of the words he used. He could be blunt and sometimes even hurtful, although unintentionally. One sunny afternoon, Sam sat under the big oak tree in the schoolyard, surrounded by his classmates. They were sharing their thoughts on dreams and aspirations. When Lily, a quiet and timid girl, softly mentioned her dream of becoming a painter, Sam laughed and said, "But you're not very good at drawing, are you?" Lily's smile faded, and her eyes filled with tears. Sam noticed, but he didn't understand why his words mattered so much. That night, as Sam lay in bed, he couldn't help but replay the scene. Did his words hurt Lily? He didn't mean to. The next day, Sam's favorite teacher, Mrs. Willow, noticed that Sam was unusually quiet during class. After the lesson, she called him over and asked what was bothering him. Sam explained what had happened. Mrs. Willow listened patiently and said, "Sam, words are very powerful. They can hurt or heal, destroy or build. If used carelessly, they can have consequences we never intended." Under Mrs. Willow's guidance, Sam decided to make amends. He approached Lily during recess and offered her a warm smile, saying, "I'm sorry for what I said, Lily. I didn't mean it, and I think your art is beautiful." He then handed her a set of watercolor paints. Lily hesitated, but then accepted with a shy smile. She appreciated the gesture, feeling her heart lighten. Sam learned that day that words could mend as well as hurt. From then on, Sam was more careful with his words. He learned to express kindness and encouragement, becoming a cherished friend in Breezeford. And, over time, under the blue expanse of Breezeford skies, Lily's paintings blossomed, just like her self-confidence. She became a renowned painter, always grateful for the lessons Sam imparted on the true power of words. The moral of the story is, be careful with your words. They have the power to hurt and the power to heal, and it's up to you to choose how you use them. Once upon a time, in a small village nestled between verdant hills, there was an elderly water bearer who had two large pots. Each pot hung on the ends of a pole, which she carried across the back of her neck. One of the pots was perfect and always delivered a full portion of water. The other pot had a crack in it, which caused it to arrive at its destination half full. Every day, for 2 years, the woman made the same journey from the stream to her house, carrying water. The perfect pot was proud of its accomplishment, for it delivered its full portion of water each time. But the cracked pot felt ashamed of its imperfection and was miserable that it was able to accomplish only half of what it had been made to do. After years of what it perceived to be a failure, the cracked pot spoke to the water bearer one day by the stream. I am ashamed of myself, and I want to apologize to you, for I have been able to deliver only half of my load because this crack in my side causes water to leak out all the way back to your house. Because of my flaws, you have to do all of this work and don't get full value from your efforts. The old woman smiled and said, Did you notice that there are flowers on your side of the path, but not on the other pot's side? That's because I have always known about your flaw. So I planted flower seeds on your side of the path, and every day while we walked back, you've been watering them. For 2 years, I've been able to pick these beautiful flowers to decorate my table. Without you being just the way you are, there would not be this beauty to grace the house. Moral of the story: each of us has our own unique flaws. We're all cracked pots, but it's the cracks and flaws that make our lives together so interesting and rewarding. You've just got to take each person for what they are and look for the good in them. By embracing the flaws of others and seeing how they contribute to the larger picture, we find beauty in imperfection. In the heart of a peaceful village, there was a small cottage where a poor woman named Emma lived with her young son, Jack. Emma worked day and night, stitching clothes to support their humble lifestyle. Even though they had little, Emma always taught Jack to be kind and generous. One chilly winter's morning, as the first snowflakes began to fall, Jack spotted an old man sitting by the village fountain. He seemed cold and hungry. Jack's heart filled with compassion. He rushed back home and asked his mother if they could help the old man. Despite their limited resources, Emma smiled warmly and agreed. She packed a small parcel of bread and a warm blanket. Jack scurried back to the square and handed the parcel to the old man, who gratefully accepted it. The man's eyes twinkled with gratitude and surprise. From that day on, Jack would often find small gifts left at their doorstep: fresh vegetables, a loaf of bread, a warm scarf. It seemed someone was watching over them. Weeks passed, and the village was abuzz with tales of mysterious gifts appearing at people's doors. Some said it was a generous merchant, while others believed it was a wandering angel. Jack began to wonder if their act of kindness had inspired this chain of good deeds. Days turned into weeks, and as the snow melted into spring, the village held a celebration. To everyone's surprise, the old man appeared, now sprightly and content. It turned out he was indeed a merchant who had fallen on hard times. Jack's simple act of kindness had reminded him of the joy of giving. The villagers learned that small acts of kindness could create ripples. The story of Jack and the old man was retold for generations, a reminder that even the smallest deeds can lead to a small miracle.
In the heart of a lush, green forest, there stood a secret known only to a few, a magic fountain that was said to hold the power of eternal happiness. Legend had it that anyone who drank from its waters would find all their worries washed away and their hearts filled with joy. The fountain, surrounded by colorful flowers and towering trees, sparkled enchantingly in the sunlight. One day, three friends, Lily, Tom, and Benny, decided to embark on an adventure to find this mystical fountain. Lily, the spirited leader of the group, cherished the thrill of discovery. Tom, with his gentle nature, often considered the thinker of the trio, preferred exploring answers within himself rather than seeking them externally. Benny, the most skeptical, often questioned the stories and wondered if the fountain even existed. As they journeyed deeper into the forest, the friends encountered different creatures, a wise old owl who gave them directions. A playful squirrel warned them of thorns on their path, and a silent deer merely watched them, its eyes reflecting the wisdom of nature. Despite various obstacles and moments of uncertainty, their friendship and determination kept them moving forward. Finally, at the break of dawn, the friends came upon the clearing where the fountain stood. It was even more magnificent than the legends described. Lily ran excitedly to drink from the fountain, followed hesitantly by Benny. Tom stood quietly, observing. As Lily and Benny tasted the water, they felt a warm glow of happiness wash over them, but Tom, to his surprise, did not feel compelled to drink. He realized that the journey and the bond with his friends had already filled him with happiness and contentment. The friends returned to their village, changed by the journey. Lily and Benny had discovered that happiness was not in the fountain itself, but in the courage, curiosity, and friendship they nurtured along the way. Tom shared his insight that sometimes the journey and those who walk alongside us are the real treasures. And so, the magic fountain stood hidden and untouched, ready to teach its subtle lesson to those who sought its mystery. The fountain reminded all that true happiness comes not from seeking an external source, but from the connections we build and cherish.